Hello everybody, we're down here at Clayton East, and I think it's a wonderful time to come look at these stone artifacts because you can see all the color on them really well. You guys can see how the bird beak is actually right here in the bird's eye. There's a dot, and then there's also a carving you can see for the red head. Then you can see this other shade of color. This is a green color. This is actually the wing, so the head of the bird is pointing backwards, and then the body of the bird is over here. If you look at the textures, you can actually see the markings, and there are, if you look closely, there are little symbols, and you might not be able to see this stuff yet, but that stuff comes later. Whenever you're able to see the art really well, you can see more than you would have ever expected to be able to see on a rock. It's very, very awesome. And here we have this mammoth that they split. They split it and then they carved it. And on the top here, it looks like it's some kind of bird head man. I'm not exactly sure, but I see on the imprint on the interior, you can see how the eye carving is done right here. This spot with a circle around it, the nose, and then perhaps the mouth of the left side character right here with all of its hair. And more than likely that'll be a bird, but it looks just like a big mohawk kind of thing right there. There's gonna be so much on these, and I really thank you guys for joining me for this one. We have a bunch to take a look at down this row here. So let's get started. Now just getting started here, walking along. We may be able to make out some of the characters on these things, but they're a little bit tougher for me to see. But we do have a very easy one right here. And it's really beautiful because it's actually a recession of a mammoth. So it's not necessarily the outside, it's the interior recession that is making up the image of the animal. And if you look closely, you might be able to see a tusk sticking down there. There might also be just a little bit of sand, and it could be interpreted in different ways. It is also different things. So you might see something different than what I see, but that's kind of how I look at this one. When I look at it up close, I can see how the eye of the mammoth is done, even with the details like little spikes and things sticking out of it. You can see right here with the center of it, looking at the green, and then these little markings are actually the outside of the eye. And then zooming out just a little bit, you can see how the trunk is lightly separated. Right here, there's a small little line, squiggly line that goes right there. And then you can see how maybe this is the ear of the mammoth, or maybe this whole section up top is. And looking closely at this top section, you can see how it's kind of blocky and squarey as well. So, super awesome piece. And we may be able to start to make out some of the silhouettes on here, or at least some of the bird heads on some of this other sections. Let's look at the recession on this side and see if we can maybe see a human character, or perhaps more mammoths underneath here. I think I see a human. So we can see how the cheekbone is represented. We're kind of looking up at the nose, if you guys can see. So this is the nose, and maybe the eyes here. But as we get the camera down a little bit lower, we can see how this is the mouth represented here. Just like a little character here, sticking out with like a little gnome guy. Isn't that cool? And I really do love how all these are lined up in a big line all the way down. They go along the wall here. And there's other instances of this at this park. So just having some coffee this morning. And hanging out with you guys. So what I think we have here, if I'm not mistaken, is as if we're looking at it this way, this is the front leg, the back leg, and then the trunk of the little baby mammoth just sticking out of the ground here. You can see how the head would be done. And looking up at the top, might be able to see a little hump sticking up there. So that's most definitely what this is. The more I look at it, the more I can see how the front and back leg is represented. And it is facing up at the sky, and that's what a lot of this art does. It faces up into the stars. And here's a really nice carving of one of the meme birds, I'm sure. A meme of, you know, an animal or their style. Some of them are cartoony-like, especially the older stuff. So ancient people we're looking at each other's art and probably learning from it, and also just going to other archaeological sites and learning from those archaeological sites as well. Let's go take a look at the megaliths, which are right down the road here. So here we are at the megalith section. There's a bunch of really large ones up on this hill here. But to start off, we'll start off with this bird here with its bird beak and the eye, and then the head. And its head is kind of like this, and the body is all the way over here. You can see the way this black section is representing the wing, and the tail might be just sticking out right there. So you can see how it resembles a big duck. You might see the eye in different spots, but that is the head of a bird right there. I think the best eye I see is this white carving, and then the beak can also be portrayed as coming all the way down to here, or just this one little small bit section here with the beaks down. It might be the same bird in just two positions, showing its action.